All right, here we are late on Sunday evening on March 18th. And there's four more Q posts that I have not covered yet that I wanted to kind of go over real quick. And this is really the boom, boom, boom that he's predicting for next week. Basically said, enjoy the show. Boom, boom, boom. Cueanon update. So let's go over this and get to those four Q posts here. So if I look over here at this, you'll see we covered 953, and there's 954, 955, 956, and 957. So I'm going to kind of go through them backwards here to kind of get into the details a little bit. Actually, come on, don't do that on me. So here they are. So you see, I was trying to blow them up for you. First here we have is, why are trips allowed? Because we know that Hillary Clinton, who supposedly maybe had some type of tracker on her and some type of plea deal or et cetera where she couldn't travel, and all of a sudden she's in India, right? Well, either those trackers, et cetera, aren't accurate, or that she obviously is part of a whitelist, right? Which means that either one of two scenarios. One is that Trump and the White Hats don't have as much control, and that Tillerson allowed them to travel when they shouldn't be traveling. There's a second theory, which is one I agree with more, is that the White Hats are completely under control. They know what's going on, and they whitelisted some people to travel to really capture more information. Since they cut the strings, the puppet strings, and froze assets, now the Black Hats are out there without having the money and the ties, and they're having to go and they're trying to meet with their friends internationally. And it's giving us better insight to other Black Hats internationally. I really believe that Trump is not here for just the U.S., but actually to help take down criminals internationally. Part of that is, I don't know if you guys saw this on March 13th, just 4 or 5 days ago, Donald Trump on the whitehouse.gov did another briefing on human trafficking, right? And it basically said, my administration will focus on ending the absolute horrific practice of human trafficking. I'm prepared to bring the full force of weight of our government, whatever we can do in order to solve this horrific problem. So that's the main reason I believe what he's talking about is that that they purposely have whitelisted certain people to travel freely, even though they may have done a plea deal with them or they're under surveillance or whatever, to expand that net and really make sure that these 18,500 sealed indictments and the military tribunals of the future will not just be the U.S., but it'll take down the root cause of the problem, not just people that that would go to jail, but it really doesn't solve the end problem of ending human trafficking. I think we're on the precipice of seeing something massively historic. Not only is the Second American Revolution, it's a worldwide revolution against the elites, and that the Illuminati is going to be exposed. A lot of these things are going to be exposed. And we need to be patient, though, and I'll end with that a little bit later. But let's get into this a little bit. So they talked about panic mode here, too, 956. Enjoy the show. So a lot of things are going to be coming next week, obviously, is what Q's saying. If I go to a couple other things to look at here, I wanted to kind of go back to this whitelisting, because some people might not know what that means. It really means identified entities that are provided a particular privilege, service, mobility, access, or recognition. It means you can get through. You've got the special privileges. That's what whitelisting is. Entities on the list that will be accepted, approved, or recognized. And whitelisting is the reverse of blacklisting, which means blacklisted, you can't get a job, right? You can't get in through anything, that type of thing. So I want to make sure you knew what whitelisting was. Another example of whitelisting came back here when this was way back in October of 2016, where Clinton emails would have been whitelisted for Obama's BlackBerry. That was some more evidence showing that Obama likely knew about Hillary's unauthorized service. I think that might be one of the booms coming in as part of this. Maybe not this week, but soon we'll find out about all the emails, and it wasn't just Hillary that had the fake emails, and we'll see that about later. But that's the whitelisting part that I wanted to hit there first, which is really, I think they're allowing them to be whitelisted, right? Wings for Widow. Yeah. You said white, but he or she said, describe the whitelist, please. So, and then nations. You're talking about nations. Obviously, that's like Hillary going to India as an example, right? So, I really believe that this is not just going to be the United States. Trump is worried about obviously America first, but I really believe that he's human trafficking is a epidemic that's worldwide, and the root of that problem is not just the U.S. It has to be solved internationally, and that's why we're going to have the military tribunals that I've been telling you about. Now, panic mode. Enjoy the show. Enjoy the show is that there's going to be some three booms. We talked about 9:55 here, right? And that is the panic mode is being shown here in many ways, right? Judge Janine basically is saying, hey, he should have been taken out in handcuffs when talking about McCabe. And he's claiming victim status. If you watch any mainstream media at all, it's like, here's this guy being picked on by Trump, even though he literally broke the law and lied to the FBI, lied to the IG and the investigators, etc. So again, it wasn't Trump that fired him. Remember, it was the IG basically recommended it, and so was it one of the committees within the FBI, right? So hey, Crazy Eddie. Blacklist is racist, is what he said. Don't know what that means. So obviously, whitelist and blacklist are basically just terms that you can or cannot get through a firewall, for example, or have the privilege of doing something or not doing something, right? Has nothing to do with racism, so I hope that's not a troll. Anyway, now when we get back in here and we look at the panic mode, again, you can see that everywhere. Now I'm going to try to really go over what are the boom, boom, booms? What are they? My predictions, Rick Renee, and again, you guys know my background a little bit. I was a former Democrat. I came to a true relationship with the Lord, and really started becoming more conservative, started balancing my views, but I really love both the Democrats and Republicans, and I believe there's a lot of beautiful Republicans and beautiful Democrats that aren't corrupt, and especially with we the people, and that we need to come together, and we need to really voice our voice, come together and unite against criminals, against criminal elites that are trying to take over our country, right? So that's going to be the opinion of me. You can know where my heart is on that. And so the boom, boom, boom. What could be those booms? Here's some of my predictions. If you look at this, just this kind of thing, what's going on here's the Twitter thing talking about U.S. Marines, right? Back here on 9:55, he says, United States Marine Corps is activated. U.S. 3. So I don't know if that's 3 provinces, 3 regions. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Barbara says, Hillary is such a mentally twisted, sick piece of garbage. I am a no. Okay, yeah, I understand. People are frustrated. And again, people that love Hillary and are Democrats have just been sold because of the Mockingbird media are really upset about Trump because they've been sold that he's a piece of crap, right? So I just have a heart for the people that have been deceived. So now we know that those who've taken the red pill and understand the truth that the Mockingbird media are really lying to we the people. So let's not give up on our Democratic friends and folks that have good hearts and want to do what's best for the country, because I believe they will come around when they find out who the true criminals are. And those true criminals are being exposed now. McCabe, obviously, Comey, and many more are going to be exposed here soon. So what I wanted to show you here is that this is literally a post from yesterday at 7 p.m. right? So, and here there basically was a bunch of Camp Pendleton training exercises going on to protect against riots. So if Antifa is going to come out and George Soros is going to pay all these people to riot, they're going to meet the Marines, not just local police. So I think that's kind of a warning to them to probably shouldn't do that. We'll see if it happens. That's for sure. Now, if I come back to this, and I'm getting into the 3 booms now, and I come back, here's a couple of the things I wanted to show you. Here is one about Google, and this is interesting. So I think this whole thing about the Internet Bill of Rights and the fact that all this censorship that's happening, and I think you saw earlier that he was talking about it's not the bots, right? So if I come back here and go, it's not the Russian bots. If I go back to this post here and see, it says not Russian here. So not Russian. This is the post from yesterday. Twitter bots, Google operated, not Russia, right? So now the evidence for that is right here. Here's somebody that posted on 3/15 real recently, right? And this is basically an anon from Google. And he basically talks about his team created AI bots for Twitter. These bots are slightly different than the regular AI bots. Those are remote signal bots, but I'll explain what they do. So he's basically telling us how they created the bots, not Russia. And I don't want to go into the details of this. I'll quickly try to go over that. The Team Intelligence team, which is really just a propaganda team, work together to make certain topics trend. So the true trending on Twitter is not happening. They're rigging it. They're rigging the trending on Twitter. We knew that, right? And basically what they do, some of the bots are verified accounts, but most of them, they join all this thumbs up and thumbs down with these false bots to get what they want on them, right? So anyway, what you're basically doing, what we are doing, but you are real people. So basically, we are real people, but we're overridden by these bots. And so I'll put this in the link in the bottom so that you can look it for yourself. But I don't want to accuse it all. But basically, we accuse Russia of doing what we are doing. So here's a anon from anonymous person from Google showing that he is creating the bots. That his team was creating these bots. Right. I pray for the marine safety. I hear you, Lisa Mayer. Let's see, Alex Jones is fake news. Yeah, there's probably a troll right there. So we'll look through some of those later. But anyway, here we go. Anyway, bottom line here is this guy feels like crap about this, and he knows that what they're doing is completely wrong. And even though he's a Democrat, he feels horrible about this. That's why I'm telling you guys, these guys are the United Nations going to become more united, right and left, as we start uniting as we the people against the right and left criminals that have sold us out. So don't give up on that. Please don't give up on that. That's my main mission for doing these videos, is to let people know, both right and left, to come together as we the people. And if I go back to the other potential booms, let's look here. Here's another couple things about the big storms ruining California and other places for the Clinton Foundation. So just lately, you'll see, this was a March 15th article again, where they're finding that what the Clinton Foundation said they were doing with the money in California was completely different when they did with the federal government. There doesn't reconcile. So all kinds of problems are starting to happen for the foundation as we're looking into the Clinton Foundation. So I think that's going to be potentially one of the booms, right? And if you look at Sarah Carter's article, she talks about the FBI. Now, if you look at the post from yesterday, which we talked about in my video, there was and I'm going to kind of go back to this PowerPoint to make it easier. But if you look at that, and again, what I'm looking at, guys, is Cueanon.pub, Cueanon, Q-A-N-O-N.pub, Cueanon.pub. So you can go there yourself and follow along. But this post that from yesterday that talked about FBI, DOJ, State Department. I think that might be the three booms. FBI, boom, we just got hit with Mueller, obviously, and Comey, right? And now McCabe, boom, boom. And the second one could be the DOJ, where Eric Lynch and maybe, Loretta Lynch and Eric Holder might, especially the tarmac meeting with Lynch, might be exposed. That might be one of the booms. And then obviously the state, which would be Hillary Rodham Clinton and Kerry. We're already seeing that Kerry's sons and Biden's sons were part of the China deal that I showed you yesterday's video. And that's corruption. So those might be the three booms right here: FBI, DOJ, state. But there's a lot of other things that could be, and obviously the FBI is in trouble as they're just trying to, all kinds of evidence is being hidden. And even James Comey, once McCabe's testimony came out, basically people are saying that he's in trouble because he had perjury. If I try to move over to this, James Comey could be in serious trouble for admission he made to Congress last year because the proof is coming out that what he said lied. Basically, McCabe leaked stuff to the media. That's one reason he got fired. But Comey said he wasn't aware of that. McCabe said he was. So there's going to be a lot of stuff coming out that's going to make him in trouble. Mark Zuckerberg called to testify before the Senate Judiciary Committee. This is another thing about the whole fake news of Google and Facebook, right? That could be part of the boom here. This whole Internet Bill of Rights and the censorship is going to come down on them eventually. There's going to be a lot more than three booms, basically. Maybe not next week. He's telling us there's going to be three next week, three big ones. So I think one of them might be the FBI, DOJ, State Department, right? One of the biggest things that's going to cause all this is the IG report expected to come out on Michael Horowitz. I'll put this in the bottom of the article too, but it talks about how comprehensive this study is. It's not just covering McCabe and the FBI. It's covering a lot more, right? Brennan, it could be Brennan as well. I know Wings for Widow. And so you have a right to remain silent. Boom. That could be exactly what's happening here. Fast, 5 facts that you need to know this just real clearly, this is an older article from, I think, January, but this kind of shows you that you have this confirmed person that was confirmed by Obama. There's Eric Holder and Horowitz there. And so as in 2012, he came on. Another fact is that he was previously commissioner for the U.S. Sentencing Committee. Another fact they talked about, he worked for James Comey, believe it or not, in the 1990s. And so most people, I believe he was a Democrat. But he is teaming with Trump now, according to Q. I think is what's going to happen here, and it's going to be a big surprise. That's why Trump played the media, saying, "Isn't Horowitz an Obama guy?" I think he's playing the media there, and he has complained about the FBI withholding documents. That's part of the reason why McCabe got fired. And then you'll see here, this is probably the biggest point here. His department review will be wide-ranging. And if you look at this, it talks about it's going to look into FBI and the Justice Department. We knew that. But secondly, he'll examine Comey and the Clinton email investigation. Thirdly, he's going into the Justice Department. The whole idea about non-public information in the Clinton's campaign, basically leaks. That's going to be leaks is what they're talking about there. He'll examine that the members of Justice Department employees, FBI, improperly disclose non-public information. That's another part of the whole leaks. And then this is all going all the way back to the election of the let's see, what does it say? That refers to the fact that in the days before the election, a Twitter account run by the FBA that tweets out documents from FOA requests published several documents related to Bill and Hillary Clinton. So another big problem with the FBI and the Clinton connection there. So this is a lot of stuff that's going to be coming out in that IG report. So I'm predicting it's going to come out, right? There's also quite a bit coming out in the Department of Homeland Security I was talking about. That's going to be that we saw an earlier post from Cueanon. If you just go search DHS, Department of Homeland Security, DHS, you'll see, and maybe I can find that real quick for you because that is a real important thing that could be happening here as well. If I go over to this one and I type in DHS here real quick and I search for DHS, here it is. This 780, go read post 780, and I already read this last through. I'm not going to go through much detail, but it talks about election fraud that swayed elections for certain Senate elections as well as the presidential elections, and there was illegal votes counted, legal votes that were not counted correctly, as well as potential voter machine fraud. So deep stuff going on here. Now, I'll wrap it up here real quick about a couple other things. Here's another Sarah Carter article about the second council that's likely to be formed. That might be another part of the boom coming, that because the Inspector General doesn't have the ability to subpoena, and other reasons why you would have, and the tools of a prosecutor aren't there, right? And now, well, I don't think it's going to go up to Yates and Obama now. It could, but I think Yates and the unmasking, that could be part of it as well. There's so many things that could be, but I really think our biggest hint is what I talked about before, was his last post that had FBI, DOJ, state. I think those are going to be the three booms, personally. Although, as I love your predictions and know that, appreciate the feedback. And here's another thing that I talked about this earlier, the whole end of human trafficking. There was leaked documents for Tony Podesta that showed even more pictures of naked teenagers in his bedroom, okay? So the whole pedophilia and Pizzagate thing could be coming all back alive. I think that's going to be later, though. I think they're trying to get the public more focused on the mass corruption within the government. Last thing I'm going to wrap up here, guys, is really looking about, let's be patient here. People are real frustrated sometimes. These booms are going to be just 3 things of probably 50 that need to happen before all the mass arrests happen. I know a lot of people thinking all the arrests are going to happen next week. I don't think so. I really think that there's going to be educating the public about all the corruption within the government that is proven, right? And who really are the black hats. Yeah, that Trey Gowdy coming out as the second counsel would be awesome. And I know he's come out for something, and so it's going to be a pretty important role. I wouldn't doubt at all if he was put as the second counsel. I noticed in an interview today on Fox and other places he was being very nonpartisan, which I think is important for obviously a second counsel to be. And so anyway, as far as being patient, there was something posted here, and I'll put this in the bottom, that talked about enemies having how we have to set the stage in the military context. It's kind of hard to read. I'm going to try to do a little bit better with this picture that I just blew up here. But see, I can blow this up, but it's hard to read. But basically, what this talks about is that you can't just go arrest people. You're only going to get little portions of it. You got to really set the stage so you can arrest everybody at the same time and take care of the chaos and everything else. And they just weren't ready to do that last year, right? So even though we've got all this great information coming from Q in October, November, this is like military strategy, and things change and you have to react. So let's be patient, trust Sessions, trust Trump, trust Q is going to be my suggestion anyway. Airtight cases are crucial. You're exactly right, Claudine. And cases have to be airtight. Same thing with Lisa said that as well. You guys are exactly right. That's why I think this is going to take. So when you control the environment, you would line up things like an executive order seizing assets. You see this right here, right? And it says you would line up an executive order that says we've got places to put these guys. That's the Gitmo thing, right? Now, and up above it was talking about if you didn't do all this, set the stage. And remember, we had that in our Q, put that about set the stage. Stage is set. So we're getting very close for this to be able to happen. If you don't set the stage, you're going to take little tiny pieces and the enemy controls the environment. If you set the stage, then the white hats, the NSA, the military intelligence, as well as the presidential administration, all have control of the environment. You would set up executive order that says I could charge you even if you were not a military person in a military court based on the severity of your charges. You would set the stage. You would not do it like, oh, let's grab John McCain randomly, right? That's what this is saying. You would not want to grab a guy like that and everyone else is going to flee and now their enemy is completely aware of your next moves. You would just continue to buy time and move the pieces around the board. Remember the chessboard that Julian Assange sat and Checkmate came out with Q? They're setting the stage, right, to be able to do this correctly. And then then when you're done and you're ready, you go ZZZT, like a drawing thing in a trash bag, right? So you got to wait till that's set, right? Just like in North Korea deal, right? It was not just done in a vacuum. So anyway, I'm not gonna really read through all that, but a great piece that I'll put down in the bottom here. But that's the main things I wanted to show you is in those three posts. I really believe this is going to be a great week. It's not going to be some grand finale that everybody thinks that everybody's going to be arrested and there's going to be chaos in the streets and boom, next week everybody's in Gitmo. Take your time here. I think this may be a summer-oriented type of thing. First, we're going to be revealing a ton of corruption, getting the second council in place, getting a lot of these sealed indictments even airtight, as you guys talked about. And so I'm not sure about Trey Grady. He has changed since he is stepping down. Yeah, well, I don't know. I think he's just becoming bipartisan, like a second council needs to be, right? And so he's got to be a little more careful about how he's talking because he knows where the dead bodies are. It's not just right and left. It's both the right and left, and it's not just the Democrats. But he used to be, as a Republican, really talking trash about the truth of some of the corruption in the Democratic Party. Now he's being a little softer on that. So I believe he is being positioned for something bigger that's going to help us take all this down. But anyway, that's what I believe the boom, boom, boom is. That's the update for Sunday night. You guys have a great week. God bless. We'll talk to you at a later time.